Hello all, the topic for this video is interestingness measure called as lift. Now before we begin, we have to recall in the last video we had discussed about how support and confidence are not enough to measure interestingness of an association rule. Okay, so we have discussed how even if the support and confidence is high, that rule had been contradictory, is not applicable. So hence, because support and confidence are not enough, hence we switch to this new measure which is called as lift. Now, so when we had talked about support and confidence in our association analysis, okay, and because that was insufficient, so now we switch from association analysis to correlation. So now we'll introduce new correlation measure which will help us find interesting rules and filter behind the uninteresting ones. So this correlation measure called lift will overcome the problem we had with support confidence framework. Okay, and because it is a correlation measure, it will come under correlation analysis. All right, so we will now look at the rule again. This was the format: A implies B, and earlier we in our association analysis we had calculated the association rule interestingness with support and confidence, and now we'll introduce this new measure called correlation. So with the help of these three measures, we will calculate whether the rule is interesting or not. Okay, so the formula, let us see. The lift between the occurrence of A and B. A and B are two item sets, okay, or let's say events. It can be calculated in this format. So lift A and B, A union B, two events is equal to probability A union B divided by PA and PB. Now this is the equation. The answer of this, the result of this can be of three types. All right, so we'll see what each type indicates. So the first one is, if after calculating this, the lift, if we find it to be less than 1, let's say point something. So in that case, it says that the occurrence of A, one of the event, is negatively correlated with the occurrence of B if it is less than 1. So negative correlation. And that is the first type. The second type is if after calculation we find that the value is greater than 1. So in that case, we infer that A and B are positively correlated. Positively means if you increase one, the other one also increases. Okay, so that is when you get positive values, positive correlation. And the third possibility is when after calculating we get the value exactly equal to 1. Now exactly equal to 1 means these two events are independent. No matter what you do, whether we increase A or decrease it, it will not have any effect, no relation actually. So they are independent. Okay, so that is what the lift value indicates. All right, and because after calculating lift, we find out the relation between A and B. Okay, so we call it the degree to which the occurrence of one lifts. Now lifts here means effects. It can be a positive lift in positive correlation, and it can be a negative lift because if you increase one, it will decrease the other. So but we are putting it as lift, the occurrence of the other. It affects. So that is why the term lift. Okay, between the two events A and B and the three possibilities. So now here we have the small example, and we are now considering lift because it is more telling. It describes more about the rule than our support and confidence. Okay, so here this rule, this table we have already seen in our previous video. Okay, where we talked about that contingency table. The same thing here. Okay, and here there are two events. C is for eating cereal and B is for playing basketball. And these are the values inside the table. Alright, now we'll go back to the table later. First of all, we'll relook at the formula. So lift, now here the two events are B and C. Okay, now here we have substituted our probability with confidence and support. So C of B to C divided by S, that means support of C. But if you expand, you will get the same result. So here we are expanding, and after substituting, we find that it is equal to support of B union C divided by S of B into S of C, which is same as our previous formula. Alright. So, and by calculating this, we know how B is lifting C. Okay, lift can be either positive lift, negative lift, or it can be irrespective, independent. Alright. So now let us apply the formula here with these values. Okay, so let's go in the table again. So these are the values, and you can see that B and C, 400 here means these are the items, or let's say transactions, where they are playing basketball, at the same time they are eating cereal. And if you check this 350, it is they are eating cereal but not eating basketball. Similarly here, if you come 200 are not eating cereal but playing basketball, and 50 is they are neither eating cereal nor playing basketball. Okay, and these are the summation. So we will come back to the three possibilities. Let's quickly go and see what it is again. Okay, so lift of B and C, if it is 1, what does it mean? If it is 1, it means that they are irrespective of each other. They are not dependent on each other. They are independent. And if it is greater than 1, okay, that means they are positively correlated. That means if you increase one, the other one also increases. Okay, and if it is less than 1, okay, if after calculating it you find the value less than 1, then it is negatively correlated. That means if you increase one, it happens to decrease the other. So that is why negative relationship. Alright, now that we will replace the values here. So in the example, the two events are B and C, and so we put the formula. So because it is B, so first of all we put the value B, that is 400 divided by the total 400, and this is B, total of B 600, and this is the total of C. Okay, 750 divided by this. After calculating, we find it as 0.89. So which case is this? This is less than 1. Less than 1 means negative. That means if you increase as the basketball, players basketball, if that is increased, then they don't, the cereal decreases. Alright, so that means players playing basketball do not consume cereal. And the next one, so similarly we calculate for B, and this time it is negation of C. That means not eating cereal. And so after substituting in a similar manner, not C, if we replace this time 200 here instead of 400. Okay, and everything else is 600 and 750, 250 here because we are taking negation in the second column. Okay, and then after that we find, calculating lift, we find 1.33, okay, which is our second possibility, greater than 1. So so if it is positively correlated, which is quite obvious. Okay, so if this is negative, then obviously if you negate 1, it has to be positive, which is what the lift is also telling us, that if you increase B, then negation of C will also increase. So that confirms the result of the previous lift. Okay, so one is your, if it is less, it is negative correlated, and again when you check it other ways, when you negate one of this, you find positive. So that means the two are agreeing with each other. Okay, so thus we can see that if you just take B and C in the first case, they are negatively correlated. Why we see so? Because we get the value which is less than 1. And B and negation of C, not eating cereal, are positively, obviously not eating cereal, that means they are playing more of basketball. Correlated since left off. So B overcomes the weakness of support and confidence. Okay, so that is how, you can see that it is helpful in measuring the interestingness of the rule, which was sometimes not possible with support and confidence. Thank you.